Welcome to the Nurses Break Room. It's not a place we get to visit very often in real life, but you're always welcome to come and recharge here. And while you're at it, head to selfcareisn'tselfish.com and grab your free copy of my book, Self-Care Isn't Selfish, The Compassionate Nurse's Step-by-Step Guide to Personalized Stress Relief. It's packed with simple, effective strategies to help you prioritize your needs without guilt so you can feel energized, focused, and ready to take on the day. Grab yours at selfcareisn'tselfish.com. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Nurses Break Room with Jenny Lytle, RN. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to share some of the things that have really stood out to me from a book that I'm reading. And this book is called The DOSE Effect by T.J. Power, and he is a neuroscientist. And right now I have been listening to the audiobook, and I've got a copy of the physical book here in front of me that I got from the library. And I think I'm probably going to end up buying the physical book because I just like to be able to mark things up. And it's something that I'm sure that I'm going to refer back to over and over again. On the front cover, the point of it is optimize your brain and body by boosting your dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That's where dose comes from. I really like the way that he breaks things down, but there's also studies that back all of that up on the website where you can dig into things further. And I haven't done a ton of that yet, but I've just taken a peek at it. But each area, when he talks about the particular thing, the first one is dopamine. So TJ goes into these 5 different actions that you can take that will boost your dopamine, but then encourages you to just choose one of those actions to be your primary one. Because if you're somebody like me, you probably want to do all of the things, think, you know what, I'm going to do all of that. And there's ways to incorporate bits of each one, but starting with one as your primary focus is a better way to really cement that in, as opposed to you think you're going to do them all, then it feels too overwhelming and you end up just going back to where you were. So for dopamine, the primary actions are flow state, discipline, phone fasting, cold water, and my pursuit. I know those may not make a lot of sense just in and of themselves, but I just wanted to give you that quick overview. The one that I am really focusing on and loving is cold water. And it's turning your shower to cold each morning as a way to bump up your dopamine, supercharge your motivation, and really at first, especially for some of you, you may think there is no way I can do that. But you don't do it all at once. You don't just jump into a cold shower. It's at the end of your shower. You turn it on for 30 to 60 seconds. So my last step is rinsing the conditioner out of my hair and rinsing my body. And so I'm already under the warm shower. And then when I'm just actually now, today I did almost my entire rinse in cold water. But I just reach over and I turn it down to pretty darn cold. So starting with it on the top of your head is the best way to do it. Just like we were taught to jump in when you're getting in the pool, there is science that backs that up. So letting that cold water run on your head, yes, it's going to be a little jarring at first, but then you'll be amazed that it feels good, like in a stretch yourself kind of way. And if you shiver, that's okay. That actually is not a bad thing either, but it really helps to perk you up. And I find that those effects last throughout the day as well. So that's the one that I'm focusing on from the dopamine section. Part 2 is about oxytocin. That's the O in dose. And the primary oxytocin actions are contribution, touch, social life, gratitude, and achievements. And contribution, I feel like that's one that I already do a fair amount of, and that's ensuring that others are at the forefront of your mind. And that's something that honestly comes naturally to me. So I wanted to do something that was a little more of a stretch. So for oxytocin, I'm going to focus on achievements, which is committing to celebrate myself for the effort and progress that I'm making in my life. I have a tendency to celebrate others, and I'll take a moment to celebrate myself, but I can often focus on all of the things that I didn't get done. And so that is why I feel like focusing on that one would be a great idea. The Next one is serotonin. And so the primary serotonin actions are nature, sunlight, gut health, underthinking, and deep sleep. I'm doing bits of all of these already, but the one that I really want to focus on first is nature. And although I get into nature, part of this is connecting with nature, with the outside world, headphone free. So without distractions. And I do that some, but I also use my nature time or my time in walks to get caught up on things, to listen to things, to brainstorm. And a lot of that involves my phone and talking to it. And so this is going to be a bit of a stretch for me, but I do believe that there are some really good benefits from that. So that is something that I want to work on. And last but not least, endorphins. The primary actions for this one are exercise, heat, music, laughter, and stretching. I've been bumping up my exercise a little, and I've also been trying to increase my music time because I know that it does really improve my mood. But I often listen to audiobooks or podcasts or things like that when I'm driving. And so I'm trying to spend a little bit more time with music. But for this one, I really want to focus on stretching because I know that I sit a fair amount, and especially driving, things like that, I get stiff and I'm not getting any younger. And so being able to be a little more flexible, stretching more often, and really being intentional about that is the way that I want to go with this one. This is a book that has been really great so far, and I read part of it and then I listened to the rest of it. I got it on Audible, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's definitely something that I want to go back into and learn more about and dig deeper. But I just did a high level overview when I was listening to it. One of the really high level takeaways that you can use going forward is whether or not you read the book. And I do encourage you to read the book. It's great, but I probably will be going into it a little bit more because I think there is so much in there to unpack. But when you're looking at doing something different in your life, it's so important to look at what you're already doing and maybe expand on that a little, or choose something to add into that's completely different, that's going to benefit you in a different way. And don't try to do a big overhaul all at once, but add in things and then slowly build on that. And as you do, you'll find that it's not nearly as overwhelming. It doesn't take as much time or energy as you feel like it's going to, because you're not trying to completely revamp your life all at once. I would love to hear from you if you've read this book or if any of the things that I talked about today stood out to you. I would love to know what you're thinking and if you've tried any of these things or what you will try. And maybe it's something that just made you think of something completely different and you thought, you know what, I want to do this particular thing. I'd love for you to share that with me. And you can reach out to me on social media. I'm Jenny Lytle or Jenny Lytle RN. And feel free to shoot me a message. You can email me at jennylytle@jennylytle.com. Or if you're on Buzzsprout, there's an area where you can just reply to the podcast. Either way, I'd love to hear from you. And be sure to check out my free resources on my website at jennylytle.com. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful week. And remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's essential if we want to continue to care for others and live our best lives. Disclaimer. Although I am a registered nurse, the medical and health information contained in this podcast is provided for general information and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice. Therefore, before taking any actions based upon such information, I encourage you to consult with appropriate professionals. I do not provide any specific medical or health advice, and the use of or reliance on any information contained in this podcast is solely at your own risk.